Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be finishing my Hollow Ichigo mod for you guys and showing you guys how I deal with my tool and how I actually mod the data inside the textures and all that. So I'm going to start off by going to File and then clicking Open, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open my Hollow Ichigo BSR project, and it will change the title name up here. And if you want to see what's modified in a project, all you have to do is click on the Show Only Modified button, and it'll actually show you what files are being modified. So in my Hollow Ichigo mod, I'm actually only modifying the figure. And in case you don't remember, in the game, you actually have a figure. You have figures. You have a collection of figures, and this is actually the texture for that figure. And that sort of brings up the question. You might be wondering, why aren't you modifying the actual character? And that's actually the reason for that is because the character itself, which is right here, Battle Ichigo, is actually identical to the figure, other than a few added effects. So later, when I actually port this and make it playable, all I have to do is import the same assets up there into here, and it'll work just fine. So getting back to the Hollow Ichigo thing, I've already got a good amount of textures textured to look like Hollow Ichigo. Like these ones, as you can see, I made his skin like pure white, and all the shadows are proper, and that's actually his foot texture, and this is a like a scar texture, and that's also a foot texture, and this is actually his hair texture. So now we just need to do a few more, and I'll just sort of show you how I go through with that. So let's go ahead and look at his other textures. So that's not a skin texture. That's not a skin texture. So this is a skin texture, so we're going to go ahead and look at this one. But we should also check the one after it. Okay, so this is the same thing, but this one has scars on it. Okay. Okay. So I think for right now, we should actually just look at these four. So we got some scars going on here. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to extract these. So that's 15, 14, 13, and 12. And we're just going to go ahead and export them. And I'm actually changing the skin here to white, like pure white. So for my reference, I'm actually going to use one of the other textures I've already created, which are these ones. Oh, no, not import, export. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up the non-scarred versions first. So that's these two right here in paint.net. And then I'm also going to open up the references for skin, which are some of the older textures. And the references I got for these textures are just actually from the anime. I just, ripped a picture and then just sort of did some coloring from there. Took the colors from the animation. So this is actually not too difficult. So what we're going to do here is we're actually going to use the recolor tool. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a skin color right here. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the color I want this to turn into, which is this color. So this is actually a shadow of this, if that makes any sense at all. So in this game, pretty much every time a shadow is put on a character, it displays a different texture. So in my case, in this case, if a shadow goes over his neck, I think this is his neck texture, then these will disappear, and then this will appear. And that's a bit confusing, but once you start modifying textures, you'll see what I'm talking about, and you'll get used to it. It's really not. It makes it a bit of a pain because you have to modify multiple versions, but it's at the end of the day, it's still pretty easy. So now if I just use this recoloring tool, I should be able to recolor the entire thing. So I go here to brush with, and then I'm gonna make this. Yeah, so that should be pretty simple because it's a pretty simple texture we got here. So that worked perfectly right there. So that was really perfect, actually, I would say. Yeah, that was really nice actually. So I'm just gonna go ahead, I'm gonna keep that. And then I'm gonna do it right here too. And man, that was working. That's actually working really well. I don't even need to do anything here because it automatically worked. Wow. Okay. So one thing I do notice here though is that it's not the same color. I don't think this is the same color, so I think I need to change that real quick. Let's change that. And then switch this. I'm gonna make it this one. I'm gonna switch that up again. It's not that big of a difference, but I'm just gonna go ahead and go through with that. I'm gonna make the tolerance 2. And yeah, I think that works out pretty well. Slight I guess kind of noticeable things here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to fix as many of these things as I can, but I might not be able to fix all of them. Honestly, I think I might be able to just fix this by increasing the tolerance. I think that might have been the issue, because the tolerance was pretty low, if I recall. Yeah. Whoops. I need to increase the brush width again. Oh yeah, that looks much better. Okay. So I think I've got these two covered. And I'm going to go ahead and open the other two now, which are the bruised ones or the scarred ones, I guess. And I'm just going to do the same thing because I think that honestly worked very well. And fingers crossed, I don't really have to do much here. Hold up, I think it's set to 50 here actually, so. Oh wow, that was perfect. I'm actually a little surprised here because my experience with this is that I usually have to do a lot more than just this, but I guess right here it works very well. So I'm pretty happy about that. And I do have to make the same change here again. So I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to select this. And in case you don't know about this recolor tool, I'd highly recommend Googling it. It's really simple. It's so useful for this, for what I'm doing right now. And go back here, and I'm set this to 12%, I guess. Whoops. Oh wait, I think that was actually pretty good. Yeah, so I mean, so there is some obvious artifacts here, and I think I might be able to fix this by just increasing the tolerance. So I'm going to keep increasing the tolerance here. And it creates a pretty noticeable line, which I don't really like. But honestly, at the end of the day, when it comes to these textures, you don't really notice these things in game because these character models are so small that it's kind of hard to notice them. Even in the figures collection, if you zoom in, it's kind of hard to notice these things. So I'm gonna try to get it as the best I possibly can here. I think 27 is probably might be good. I think 28 was actually pretty good. Yeah, I think this is actually pretty good, honestly. I can just leave it like this. So now we have to actually save these. So if we go back to the original texture, we'll notice at the top here, it gives you some information about the textures. So you have the width, height, and you don't really need to worry about these two. Just keep them the same. And then you have the format, which is DXT1. And I would highly recommend keeping the format the same always. There's no reason to change it, in my opinion. And if you do change it and you notice issues, I'm not really, I don't think I'm really going to help you with that because it's not really something you're supposed to do. The game's kind of expecting DXT1 in this case, so I would recommend keeping a DXT1. So I'm just going to go ahead and click save right here. And it's going to ask me, ask me for some settings here. And I'm going to click BC1 linear DXT1, which is DXT1, the same format up here. And then for the error metric, I just use perceptual. And then I generate bitmaps and then use nearest neighbor. I don't really know what the other options mean, but I just use nearest neighbor and that works. So I just click save now. And we're going to do the same thing with all these other ones. And if we go ahead and just reload my desktop, they're all modified now, and I'm going to close out of here in paint.net. And then I can import them back. So 12, I'm going to go ahead and import right here. Then what is this? This one's 13. I'm going to go ahead and import 13. And then import. Here's 14. And if you notice, none of these settings change. I would, like I said before, keep these the same when you save a texture. Only change it if you really know what you're doing. And I'm going to import the last one here. That's this guy. Great, so now I'm going to save my project file. And regarding project files, actually, I would not recommend relying too much on them. Like, as you can see right now, I'm deleting these originals because I actually trust my file a bit. And I know nothing would go wrong in particular. But I would not recommend relying on this for the future. Every asset you modify, I would definitely recommend keeping a backup, or keeping a backup of the version of the application that you use to open it, because in the future some of these old project files might not be compatible with the newer versions. So let's keep on going and see. I believe there's a couple more. So this isn't his skin. That's his blade. Okay, so this is his skin, 20. So we're going to start on 20. And then I think the one after it should be his... Okay, it's another one of these. Oh, okay. So let's just go through all these, honestly. Okay. So I believe I've opened every single texture here that's not been modified yet. And I think so far we look at 20 and... Okay, so I think it's here where it starts. So I think it's only these 4 left that we have to actually do now. So let's go ahead and extract all these. And let's start out with these last 2 here. So this one should be pretty simple. So all we got to do is get this, go into here, which is my skin reference for the shadow, his face with a shadow on it, and then switch the colors around, and then do this. And then I will use the recoloring tool. And it actually worked pretty well. I think I do need to increase the tolerance to 50 again, though. Yep, I think that worked pretty well. Honestly, I don't think I really need to change much. It's kind of bluish down here, but I think that'll be fine, honestly. And we're going to go back here now, and now we're going to do his light textures. So let's do that, and then let's grab his skin here, and then let's go ahead and do this again. So this time around, we got some issues here. So I think what I need to see here really quick is if these are the same. They're very similar, but they're not completely the same. And what I'm talking about right now is these little spots right here. So they're very similar from what I can tell, but they're not exactly the same. So I think we're going to have to just rely on the tolerance for this guy. Set it to 100 and see what happens. I think in this case, actually, going back to 50, I think that was actually pretty good. And I'm going to also redo that. And I think what I'm gonna try to do is get this color here on there. So I'll set this back to 50 and then do that because I think that looks pretty good. And then I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna select this color right here because this is what I want to change. And then I'm gonna select this color, and then I'm gonna use the filtering tool on here. And it actually backfired a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in on here. And then decrease my brush width by a lot. Not that much though. Just enough to cover this general area. So yeah, we definitely seem to have a bit of a problem here. Maybe if I set my tolerance a little lower, I can probably get this pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely very fidgety. I might actually have to just use this file specifically as a reference here. So here is kind of... I feel like I could definitely do that. So the issue is definitely this white border line is created. So I'm going to have to find a way to fix that. My only way to fix that might be to just manually recolor it myself, which I'm probably going to do that. Alright, so I think I'm going to have to recolor this myself manually. The draw tool, or brush tool. See, even the color isn't really completely there either, which is kind of not a good sign, I'd say. Maybe if I fill it in, it might work, actually. Oh, this works much better, actually. Yeah, recolor is kind of like a glorified fill-in, except in my opinion, it's like, it can be more precise and sometimes it's more helpful. But other times, I guess just the fill-in is more helpful in general. So I'm going to try to remove some of this bluish stuff here. And if you're experienced in this, you might be a little bit cringing at some of the things I'm doing. I'm not really that experienced in texturing, so this is just more of a learning experience and just stuff for the mod, really. So I'm a bit confused in how I'm going to make this upper part here, because it looks kind of off. I think I can control the hardness here. I think that's what I'm looking for. I think that should help. I do think that looks a lot better. I think it still looks pretty bad, honestly, but I think that could actually work though. I think it could fly. And let me try the recoloring tool here. Yeah, it looks kind of... I'd say it looks a little bit messed up, but I think... No, I don't think that could do, honestly. It just looks far too messed up, in my opinion. In fact, even this just looks better, like with its kind of messy textures. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good, honestly, even though, I mean, it looks pretty bad, but I think in-game it won't be that noticeable as it is looking through it here. And then here, there's also a slight bit of his original skin color that's showing, so I'm going to change that. I think that looks pretty good. So now all I need to worry about is this last guy, and I think I know how I can do this. I'll just select this color, and I'm just going to recolor it with this. I think that should work. Oh, the hardness is pretty low. Yeah, so we got that same problem going on here. Maybe if I decrease the hardness, that might help. I don't know. No, it doesn't really seem to do much when you decrease it, especially in this case. So I think I'm just gonna have to accept that and do some more recoloring myself. Man, that really does not look too good. That actually does kind of help. I think maybe if I think that was honestly the most I could do. Now I was just seeing what would happen if I did that. So I think manually doing this might be the best option now. Let me just try filling it in and see what happens. Yeah, honestly, filling it in is much better in this scenario. So I'm gonna manually do the edges. That was a bit too much. I'm gonna go ahead and manually do these edges now. And if you're watching this and you're like and you're experienced in this kind of work, if you could just leave any tips, I'd definitely appreciate that, because I'm not that good at this. And also, I do have the Photoshop plugin, but I do prefer Paint.net right now because it's a bit faster for me, and I don't know, it's just a bit easier at the moment. I think I should decrease the hardness and then start drawing here in the edges. But in my opinion, they still have sort of the old orange skin vibe to them. I think that looks a lot better. Still looks pretty. In my opinion, it does look poorly done, but I think it's in general a lot better. I think it's just some final touches, and then it should be pretty good from there. And I might fix some of these blue spots here once I'm done here. So I do think that this is actually pretty good. Slightly lighter than the original, and I think this could definitely work out very well. So now we're going to look at the other two. And yeah, this might be a little difficult. So here we're just going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to recolor it. Oh, whoops. The hardness is set pretty low. There we go. So that looks pretty good. So now I need to... Well, actually, I think these things could use some fixing here. They look way too blue. So I'm going to fix that. Actually, I think I'll just leave them the way they are. I think it's fine. No. I should probably modify them. So. I think it looks pretty good, honestly. I mean, it still looks alright. So I think in this version, I think they just removed those other things on the side here, which is kind of weird. So yeah, they're not there anymore. I'm not sure why that is. But we can just go ahead and copy this here and use that and put it right here, which works great. And I'm just going to go ahead and save these guys. So yeah, now all we have to do is find a good way to modify these. Okay, so this one's already modified pretty well, actually. So now all that's left is this, and this one's going to be a little bit challenging, but I think we should be able to do it pretty nicely. So I think what we can do here is just, well, before I do that, I'm going to do the same thing I did to the original here. I'm going to go ahead and grab the skin color, and then I'm going to grab the other skin color here, and I'm going to recolor the entire thing. Alright, Yep, that was pretty good. And then next, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drag all this stuff here. And the reason I'm doing that is because in this version I fixed them, so I'm just going to head and copy them here so that they'll be fixed. So for this part's going to be a little bit more challenging. I just have to be really precise when I do this here, but I should be able to get it done. And actually, before I do that, I think I'm gonna quickly just draw a little bit with less hardness here, because it's very I don't know, it's kind of poorly done, and I don't think I can do it much better, but I'll try. Yeah, I think that makes it a little bit better in my opinion, but that's all I can try for right now. And luckily for me, it doesn't seem like any of these actually get in there in those textures, so I can just straight up rip it from here. Just have to be a bit precise here because I want to grab all these spots. And yeah, I think I copied that one pretty good. And then I'm just gonna copy this other one. This other one should actually be pretty easy because just like this, it's not really covered by anything, so I can just go ahead and grab it pretty much. Oh, what the? Okay, I think that should be good still. That's kind of weird. Nope. Hold on one second. Wonder why that happened. Or you just redo that. Yep. And I think honestly that looks pretty good. It's hard to even notice. Yeah. I think one thing that could use a little bit of work, just a tiny bit of work, is this. But once you do that, I think I'm gonna, hold on. Once you do that though, I think it looks pretty good actually. Yep. So I think it looks really good actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and save this. And I think I've got them all saved now. Would you like unsaved? Yeah, sure. I think it's good. Yep. So 20, I'm gonna go ahead and import this. And then import 21. And then import 22. And then import 23. And yeah, I think this is really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and close all this. I'm gonna save my project so I don't lose any of my work. And I can just go ahead and delete all these because I don't need them anymore. So now if we're just gonna go ahead and take a look at everything now, just to ensure that all the skin is proper. Yep. And I'm not really sure if the mask needs anything special. I don't think it does. And also the eye textures I forgot to show you guys earlier. I made this a long time ago, but I made this probably like 7 or 8 months ago, but I'm still using it because it looks pretty good. Actually, I think I'm gonna export this real quick because I think there's a slight, like that little spot right there kind of bothering me. So I'm gonna modify that real quickly. Yeah, it's kind of noticeable too. I think the fix will be pretty simple though. And then I could just copy a color from here or something, like right next to it, and then color that in. And yeah, I think that looks pretty good, honestly. Actually, that's a bit of a problem for all these. Like I said, I made this a long time ago, so it's a bit of a okay, so I'm gonna come here and fix this. So yeah, the way the eyes work in this game are definitely weird, but the eyes are probably the easiest thing to modify. So, you know, you could always have fun with that. Alright, I think it looks much better now. Great. So I think I can close out of it. I got the entire Hollow Ichigo mod made. And before I actually complete, I'm not actually done yet. The thing is, I have not imported these textures into the actual in-game model. I've only put them in the figure model, but not the gameplay model. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna actually put them in the gameplay model. And to do that, I'm actually gonna export every single modified item here. So the in-game models are actually located in S&D English and S&D Japanese. As for why both of these models are separated, I have no idea. I don't know if I told you this before, but this is the audio difference for English and Japanese. And Draw English is the textual difference, so like text in game and stuff. So we go to battle and battle Ichigo, and as you can see here, this process is definitely not going to be a short one, but we're going to go ahead and just do this. In the future, I might actually make a way for this to be done a lot easier, but for now, I'm just gonna do it like this. And I'm not gonna cut this part out either because I guess I just want to sort of show you guys what it's like actually modding with my tool. If you were to do this yourself, and this is a part of the process sometimes for all modding tools. Really, it's a bit of time to take out doing things that are not really something you want to do. And in case you're wondering why I'm just importing them like this without looking at what the textures are, that's because the first 31 textures here in number 1, this section 1 here, are the exact same as the one from the figure. So I don't really need to look at them. Whoops, I don't think I'm modifying 16. Nope, I'm modifying 20 now. So now I believe that's all of them modified, really. So let me check up here. Up to 9, and then 12 to 15, and then 20 to 23, and then 31. So that's this right now. If we save that, I'm going to go ahead and save that. And technically, you might be able to also add this to the other Ichigo models, depending on what the model is and if it has the same textures. So now I'm going to do this to the same thing, except this is for the Japanese version. think in the future I'm probably going to add a quick import option, depending on what people want, because this is a bit time consuming, and a lot of people might have to go through with this. Alright, and I think that's the last one here. So now we finally gotten every model of Ichigo, normal Bankai Ichigo. Finally we have it modified here. So yeah, I'm gonna go to just save it one more time, just because. And it's done now. If we were to click new here, and that would close the project, and we open the project file again, you would notice that, hold on one second. If you click show only modified, we have everything here saved. We could just open up something at random and it would open up properly. So at this point, you could actually just create a quick patch and then run this, and then it would turn out fine on your on PS3. And I might upload a video. This is going to be the ending of this video, and if you guys like this, if you want to see more stuff like this, you can always join the Discord, ask me questions, or if you want to even do stuff like this to the game, you could always just join the Discord. Ask me if you could be part of the closed release. I'll ask you some questions, then we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later.